question, Matt, or whomever. So, as I look at these options, in my mind, I've dwindled down to like my two favorites out of the two options if we would go ahead. But as I look at this, I try to think of what other people might be wondering. And my question that I'd be wondering is, and I think I already know the answer, but I just want to say it, is why do we have to do anything to the elementary school? Can't we just take everybody out of there and then use the other three buildings and get rid of the elementary school? Because some people think that number-wise, with the number of students, and it's still going down, but the number of classrooms in the other three buildings, it looks like it's feasible. Now, me being in education, I would say that is absolutely incorrect because of other needs that we have, like younger kids needing certain sizes and special ed stuff. That's my belief, but do we know for sure, like, if we went to just the three other buildings and got rid of the elementary school completely, like, is that feasible, or is there issues with doing that?
That is not an option that, as a board, you brought to us previously to evaluate. So I can't say unequivocally it would or would not work.
Okay.
You started pointing out some of the challenges associated with that option. Anytime we would push 4K and kindergarten up into the intermediate school in this case, that building is not currently equipped to handle elementary or primary students from the perspective of bathroom configurations, classroom sizes, playground equipment. So is there a scenario where we just literally force everybody up and basically utilize our buildings to the max? Maybe, but I would say it's not free because there's still going to be needs to make both the intermediate school and the middle school age appropriate to support whatever grade bands end up in them.
And I would say.
And then we'd also have to talk about what does the board and the community feel is an appropriate age to have in a high school building. So are we okay with 6th graders in the high school, for example? I make that up. I don't know if that's what would happen, but those are the questions we would have to answer.
And I only brought it up, Matt, just because I think the initial shock of seeing what the value was of just repairing the elementary school could be a huge, like, sticker shock for a lot of people. And so then after seeing that, they might just think, well, why even do anything? So I don't think that that's what we should do, honestly. But I could see why some people would think that's a good option. So I just wanted to, I didn't know if you knew or not, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
And I would say, if you look at the plans for option 3 in this one, or option C in this one, you can see the addition was all 1,200 square foot classrooms, so 4K and K would fit there. So to say that we want to put our youngest learners in the tightest spaces just because they need more space wouldn't be the appropriate move.
Bob, you are shaking your head a lot right here.
Sorry.
Not sorry. Do you have anything to add?
I don't think you can fit 4 buildings of kids in 3 buildings without doing some addition. Your kitchen, you gotta look at your cafeteria space, your gym space. And physically, I don't think there's enough classrooms in the buildings to do it. Especially when you start looking at the intermediate schools, they're gonna be told that, no.
That's what I was thinking. Again, I just making sure that where my mind is at is correct.
And I won't shake my head anymore.
That's fine. Is there an option that anyone feels really strongly should not be on the table at this point? Maybe that's the better way to start here.
I have crossed off A and C.
Okay.
Me as well.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm not opposed to option C, actually. Option A, I'm not in support of, so I would agree with that. Between option B and option C, I wish there wasn't that big of a price difference, because I think it'd be fun, maybe fun is the right word. It would be interesting to see what the community's perception is with one versus the other, right? Because we've heard this big push historically of 3 buildings is gonna be better than 4 buildings. And option B, well, the newest option and currently my favorite option, because it is taking what I heard from the referendum this past year and maybe repurposing it into something different. And I knew that when when we surveyed the teachers, they weren't really in favor of staying down there because it's in the community versus being out here in the community and whatnot, but comparing those two and to see what people's thoughts were. And my concern about running a survey with the two of those options was the price difference, right, Matt? Because we know if I give people two options that are contrasting very different prices, the cheaper one's gonna win every time, right?
Yeah, I mean, the best data would be is if we had B and C that were a couple $1 million apart from
Right.
each other, right? Then that survey can actually start to allow people to weigh out, do I believe 4 buildings versus 3 is better? Do I believe that consolidating to one campus is worth, or to 3 buildings is worth the investment? I would say in this case, the price difference is an issue. It probably will hopefully get more support for B than C just because of that. You at least are giving those that feel option C or a 3-building solution is the right way to go for the long term. You're giving them an opportunity to survey on that scenario.
Because we've never surveyed that scenario.
We have never surveyed that scenario.
And the survey wouldn't be written, do you support B, do you support C, do you support neither? It would be, I would support either option, I prefer C, I prefer B, etc. So we will get enough data to suggest that those that are strongly in favor of C, hopefully are gonna give us the feedback that they would support either.
But I think what I just heard from 3 of the board members is you're not interested in C.
It's not that I would prefer D, because I feel like we just went to option C and then just told no. However, I think now with more info out there, I can see why we would wanna look at C again, because now the public would have more information about what it would cost to, if we don't add on to a building, here's what we're actually looking at. So that's why I don't fully rule out C. I just felt like I like D better, because then it's a different option. And from several people that I heard from after the last election, the reasons of why they voted no was, well, either the price or because they wanted 4 buildings and we wanted 3. So then I was like, well, here's your chance of, okay, let's see how does the community feel about 4. But I also understand, as we said the last couple of meetings, when it's that big of a price difference though, between the 2 options, how that might not work so great, but that's why I like D and B row.
I feel like we were kind of already told no option C. So,
I don't interpret it as that at all personally, I don't. I think we didn't get it right. But, and whether that was the political climate, unknown taxes, being assessed, there's so many variables that I can't pinpoint it down to, whereas the survey gives us more tangible information as to saying, why didn't you support this option? And I've always enjoyed that piece of it. There may be people that went out and just said, no, I don't want to go to 3 buildings. I don't want all of these grades at that one building. I don't want it on this site. Absolutely. I don't think that was the overwhelming push. I don't. But that's my opinion. So then do we survey or do we not survey? Because I'm a big fan of surveying and getting data, but that's me.
I typically am too. And last meeting, I was absolutely yes, we need a survey. Today, I'm like, I don't really know if we need a survey. So I need to hear more of everyone's thoughts.
Okay, so I do think the benefit of the survey is it will hopefully help us not have a second unsuccessful referendum. Because hopefully what we get back from this survey is an understanding of where the community is at. And that will inform our ability to put a question on the ballot in April that has a much higher likelihood of success than if we as a group decide we prefer D or B, whatever it is.
Sure.
If as a group you can coalesce, and I'm making this up, and none of you have said this, but if you can coalesce around B is long-term solution. It balances our need to invest in and address the elementary needs while coming in at what we feel is a quote-unquote reasonable cost. That's gonna be the best data you can get, right? It's thumbs up, thumbs down. People support it or they don't, yes or no. That's gonna be a 4-page survey. We're gonna get a high participation rate likely, and you guys will have a really good sense of whether that has support.
Right, agreed.
This
If
is my
you had-
Myron, and I think the other thing that the survey does is number one, it's an educational tool. So that would land in every resident's mailbox. And whether they believe it or not, fill it out or not, they see that you're asking. And that leads to the second point of the intangible, is that you're asking the community for support of what to put on the ballot. So when you're messaging, if the district does decide to go to referendum again, you can message, we asked, we listened, this is what we've heard.
But it also means that we have to listen, so if it comes back not
That's true.
favorable,
Yeah.
then we're back to the table,
All
right?
right.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to that, I'm all about listening, but.
Would one of the questions then be, I prefer neither of these options?
Yes, I will support neither is always on the table, yeah. And we could ask if that is the response, we could ask people to provide more feedback as to why they wouldn't support it. My guess is the vast majority will be some form of financially related motivation, or can't afford this time, or tax impact is too high, or that isn't too expensive. But we could definitely have a sub-question to, if you were not supportive of either option, why? And if we see 40% of the respondents saying, I would only support a new school, assuming we don't put a new school on with the survey, we may change course. I don't think that's likely, but we can definitely provide that.
As I process, some of this information, some of what goes into my mind is branding, or not necessarily branding, but growth in our district, attracting, thank you, that's a better word. And that daycare piece is always in the back of my mind in future, if I could make the daycare happen, I would do it. With B, there's really no option to put a future daycare site. Is that correct?
Not without expanding,
Right.
or, with a negative perspective, would be if our enrollment decline continues to the point where we relocate kids up to intermediate school.
But ideally, you would have kids for that.
And in turn, we then would have space available in our newest building from a renovation perspective, being the current elementary for daycare.
Becky, thoughts, Shannon? Thoughts? Patty, what's your thoughts?
I didn't make a survey for sure. We don't know unless you ask.
What do we ask?
4 options is too many. Is 3 too many? You give them 3 options? You have to do 2?
You don't have to.
don't have to, but I feel like if we can go with that.
But if we're worried about the cost difference between B and C being too great, is that for sure well in favor of D and B? Does that like, Susie not put D on there, because that cost difference between B and D are bigger?
Yeah, I don't think you can put B in.
It have to be B and C.
No.
I think it's
you could-
one.
Or you could just run B.
Right, that's, I think, preferably, I think it's just one. That's where I'm at this moment. And what else we use? We cut it off.
I think option C, I'm not the biggest fan of. Just with my mom being a teacher and knowing how that would affect her, and a lot of the other teachers, I think we need to better options for the majority of the people in the district. And we just need to help people make sure that they understand why those are better options, in my opinion, and obviously most of yours too, but
say to remember too, if we're going to survey, then, you say, yep, we'll listen to the results, and we have to actually mean that. So I think that's really an important piece.
If we don't listen to what they're presenting, it pass,
So,
and we need it to pass.
And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, April 2025 is the only referendum date in 2025?
That's correct.
Or I mean, you could probably pick a, no, there's not a primary in February, so no, it's just April.
So it would be April of 25 or April of 26 would be your next option.
So,
And maybe looking to, maybe we can,
but there's 4 of us here, there's a majority here.
absolutely.
And in the sake of time, the ask to us was to be able to kind of start steering down a path of where we're gonna go from here. So, if I think what I'm hearing correctly is we survey, can you let us know? Yeah. Okay, and then 1 option or 2. Matt, what's your thoughts on that?
I can see the advantages and disadvantages of both. I think if you as board members and or you believe the community should have the ability to weigh in on a 3-building solution, even though the cost difference is significant, so all the commentary on that is accurate. It's likely that you would not get more support for a more expensive option, given the roughly $9 million, $9.5 million difference between the two, if you pick B and C. If you as a board all feel, given how long you've been at this, and given that the community spoke on option C already via referendum, and you just want to put B out there, because you believe in it as a board, because it's a good solution, then I would argue we just go with 1.
That is what I'm feeling at this point,
Just
just be. I don't see D passing in the current climate of finances in our communities.
I wonder if B will
Right.
too, but I think B is the best shot of passing. As much as I want B and B to be on there, I'm fine with it just being option B on the survey.
Okay. Same? Okay, there you go, there's your direction.
So what we will do is we will bring a draft survey back on August 14th, which focuses on the needs and obviously explaining option B. The next couple of agenda items will inform the tax impact for that, so we're not prepared to talk about that yet tonight, but I appreciate, and I think everybody else does, the direction and the ability to narrow in on 1 pathway versus multiple. And we'll get rolling tomorrow on the survey.
Alright, thank you. Anything else?
Thank you, board.
I'm just still thinking like that point of having C, but maybe that's just something we have to be more open and looking at how, like, if we get that far, like, it's this much more. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize the difference between B and C. Maybe it's just a talking piece, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't come off the table, it means we're seeking data, and then we come back and look, right? So,
I think we also get a little bit of what part of no didn't you understand when we told you no at referendum last time regarding C.
Right.
And now you're coming back with it being more expensive.
That's true.
I think that's a little harder pill to swallow.
good point.
Thank you.
That was for the nurses in the room too.
Thanks for not saying postmortem, alright. Alright, anything else on this item? Alright, that brings us to item 3, engage in continuous improvement of student support systems and programs. A preliminary revenue limit worksheet for 24-25 levy.
It's just a continuation of the discussion from last month. We have a few more pieces of the puzzle
first estimate came out for equalized aid. Before we go through these, just prefacing it though, that there are a lot of assumptions that are being made right now because we don't have a lot of that data. October 15th is the finalized, when the finalized information does come out from the state, so until then, we have that September count that needs to be put in. Equalized values will come in, I believe, August 15th, I think they will, we'll get some information from there. So these numbers will change slightly, but this is what we have to the best of our knowledge right now. So we put together 3 different scenarios. In each scenario, we focus on the debt payment, right? Because we can only levy for operations what we can levy based on the revenue limit. But since we do have debt, we have the ability to utilize that in order to help control the mill rate. So it's gonna be an option of whether or not the board wants to just levy for the scheduled payment for 24-25. We put together a scenario to levy 24-25 payment and 25-26 payment. And then we've also put together a schedule or a rev limit worksheet to portray a 50-cent reduction in what the mill rate was last year. Last year, in 23-24, we had a mill rate of 6.94. So we put forward a 6.44 just to show that little bit of tax relief that we could within the community. So if we want to click on. So if you take a look at the first option, which is the, actually you can just go right down to the bottom section of it. This is levying for what the scheduled debt payment is for 24-25. With that, you can see that the mill rate will be about 5.20. If we look at option 2, levying for 24-25 and 25-26. That mill rate goes up to 5.85. And then option 3, as I mentioned, is 6.44. The interest savings, making
So
additional
if there's a, if we go back out, and Baird has, put together a schedule for us to simulate both of those. So if we take a payment of the additional, I think this one is the first one. Yep, so on the first levying for 24-25 and 25-26, you'll see that the savings are about 65,000. If you scroll down, that is levying, that is levying the 3.146 to get the 6.44 mill rate, and the savings are 107.
You know, this answer, the reason why we do this now is because we need to prepare for our annual meeting. Correct.
Yeah, we need some direction. You know, if we had, it's not just the annual meeting, it's also.
Well,
it's tied in with this as well. Yes, from my perspective, it's the annual meeting, but, and the reason that we ask is because, you know, we did have that $3 million operating referendum come off, so that's why you're seeing that significant decrease in the mill rate. So rather than seeing peaks and valleys with that mill rate, a lot of times boards like to have maybe level it out a little bit. Because we have debt, we have that ability to levy in Fund 39 to help control that mill rate. And you don't have to, like I said, we've shown the one that has a scheduled debt payment. And what we decided here helps us create what the tax impact is for option B that we just talked about for the survey, because we need that to be as accurate as possible. Because when you put out content, you don't want to change the future. And it's hard because there's so many estimates, and you hear all of the pieces that we don't know for sure yet.
And I'm assuming that these are all based on the assumption of property values, right?
4% increase in property values.
So-
We'll know that, we'll have a better understanding of what that's gonna be around August 15th.
So if it comes up higher,
Then the
then the
rate's
rate's
gonna
gonna go lower.
Right. You know, last year I think we were at 18.2%, and that was a significant increase. I know that every, indication is that it's gonna be about 4%. I think Debbie's on. Debbie, are you on?
Yes.
I am.
Do you wanna add to that at all? What the thought is on that percentage for equalized value?
Yes, so we will provide an estimate to districts at the August 15th valuation is released. That is the municipal value, final for them at that time. We run an estimate for the districts based on those values. It will become final on October 1st. seen districts use anywhere from 2 to 6% as their estimate. Again, the data we're looking toward is, home sales, new growth, and just remembering that the value that gets certified on October 1st is reflective of the value in place as of January 1 of 2024. So we have to think back to 6-8 months ago to what the market is doing in order to generate our estimate. So a 4% estimate that the district's currently using is in line with what we're seeing other districts use, both in your area and in other districts similar to yours, in other areas of the state.
And this debt that we have left is our 10-year facilities.
Or 2020, correct.
And as somebody who remembers having a lot of conversations about the length and the time and the payback and the interest, a lot of those board members are not here anymore, but their wish was to get this paid off as soon as possible. And of course, we didn't know what the future was gonna hold. And so looking at a decreased mill rate from last year to this year, and knowing it could potentially go on more if property values come up, which means it's harder for an individual property owner, I fully understand that. I'm in support of making that motion. That's me.
You guys like option B today?
Yeah.
This is kind of option B. Thank you.
Anything else with the revenue limit worksheet?
No, we'll continue to, as we hit those deadlines, we will come back with updated data and updated worksheet, so after the next meeting, we might update October 1st. October 15th deadline.
Okay. All right, that brings us to item B, 23-24 budget review.
And another one, another item that we'll continue to review until we close out the 23-24 fiscal year. If we go to, Fund 10, we'll take a look at the revenues and expenses for Fund 10. We have realized, I would say, probably 99% of the revenues that we're gonna realize for 23-24. We do have some outstanding claims that we have to put through on some of the grants. So if you scroll to the bottom, just of the, I'm sorry, bottom of page 2. You can see that we came in at 98.53% to what we budgeted to revenues. It's a little deceiving on the expense side because we have two large expenses that we have to book, and they'll be the last two expenses that we'll book for the district. One is the transfer to Fund 27, the Special Education Fund. So if you scroll up just a little bit, April, you can see right there that 1.7 million, and then there's no actual dollars that have been booked yet. That is the final, what we say, piece of the puzzle essentially, for making Fund 27 balance. I don't anticipate it being as high as 1.7 million, but that's what we have budgeted for this year. And we'll continue to, bring this forward to the board until we close out the 2024 fiscal year.
Audit, takes place when?
Audit takes place August 19th through the 23rd.
Questions, comments, thoughts? No? That brings us to item C, school farm forest discussion.
Again, just a carry over from last month. We're just looking for some direction from the board, if they'd like us to move forward and transition that money into an account. Right now at Midwest One, putting it in a high yield savings account, we're getting about 2.47% interest. That makes it available to us, at any time. If we put it in the CD, the percentages are a little bit higher, but of course, if we put it in the CD, then it's gonna stay a little bit longer until we can touch it, or we can leave it where it is. That's just, those are the options that we have.
Moving it where it is, yields us the interest rate of what?
0.55.
Yeah, I would like to see it
Yeah.
where it can collect its own interest, is sort of the purpose.
conversations we have had regarding the future of the facilities and programming and things like that, but nothing for the foreseeable future, meaning the next few months, and could we do a 6-month CD? Is that higher than that 2.47%?
Something's gonna happen within a good 6 months.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. One company said that they're a year out building. We've got a hold of another company waiting back to hear, but it's not gonna happen before next summer, at the early.
I mean, it's a good chunk of money if we put it in like a CD, that's a 12-month CD, it's gonna make a little bit
What's
more
that,
money.
what's that interest rate usually approximately?
It's a little half and half right now.
That's what I was gonna say, I wanted to verify that. You're up to date on CD market, so, okay.
I mean, mine might be different, but
Oh. It's her hobby.
it's not my hobby.
It's about 4.5. Usually is to do that, so they take the money that was earmarked for the ag department from the sale, minus the money that we've already spent with the demolition of the greenhouse, and put it in its own account, tagged, and try seeding for 12 months.
Are you comfortable with that?
Just knowing though that that's where it's gonna be for 12 months.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to wait and, kind of raise it.
Right, okay. And then that stays for that purpose, that it was intended.
And then we revisit again.
Yeah, it makes it the cleanest, because then, what is the money, how much interest, all of it's very, very clear, as opposed to errors and where it's tagged in audits and all of the things, so.
Okay.
You can still do planning and stuff.
We should
Yeah.
explore.
Just
an
schedule it in
option.
the fall of the year for a build if that's interested.
You don't know we're building either.
No?
Right, right.
That's what they
Exploring and
choose.
brainstorming, right?
Right, options,
Talking,
enhancing the.
where we can go for the future and, you know, when we did this, you know, the goal was agriculture district-wide, environmental studies district-wide, it was impacting the greatest number of kids. But we got another vision and a plan for the future, right? All right, that brings us to the admin reports. And is all the information is complete. And let's, start with.
Thank you.
Bye. Alright, I'm gonna start at the bottom today and start with, the reconciles. I know, I'm sorry. Let's go to Shannon.
Well, we talked about one already. District audit is scheduled to take place on 23rd. Baker Tilly is going to be serving as our auditing firm. And we'll have a preliminary budget presented at the August 4th meeting.
That has to go in paper.
It has, before the annual meeting, it has to go 2 paper cycles, so for 2 cycles, 2 weeks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Alright.
Dr. Stiles.
Absolutely. It was really important to know, that, you know, you submit things and sometimes they never get looked at, but I got a phone call from the Department of Justice one day, and I was like, hello? And they were actually looking through the files, and it's too bad that file walked away, because Bob Hunter and I all learned some pieces. But they were looking through, were we in compliance with state statute as far as, are we putting in the safety drills, are we making sure that we're doing our safety audits and doing all the pieces and parts, and we are, and we were 100% compliant. And what was great about having a phone call with somebody who has a huge depth of experience and interest in supporting schools is that we had the opportunity to learn more and get more resources. So we actually have a meeting with the admin team next week, Bob Hunter and I, and the admin team, to talk more in specifics about unification plans and how we have incident command training, and there's just lots of pieces that were never part of education, and I wish they weren't right now. But the good news is that the team of people have done what they needed to do to ensure the safety of our kids.
Can we follow up on that, just before you're in your role, I took a part of that as a board member. So I'd love to follow up on that, how to.
Yes.
Who did you talk to?
Pete,
Good. I don't know.
Yeah, he was actually in Vegas when the tragedy happened there, so he was part of the response team, so he was lots of background, he's retired, so he just does this on the side, looking at schools and supporting schools. Yeah. And then secondly, just wanted to talk about tennis courts for a minute, and have, can you click on that? Just kind of walking through what's been going on with the tennis courts and where we're at with the tennis courts. Some of you are new, we've talked about them at board meetings in the past, but, when they were built, so that you know, was in 2001. And we started with 4 courts, and then we built another 4 courts in 2005. And then we eventually, that doesn't add up to 9, so it was single and 4 courts, sorry, it was 5, and then we built another 4, so we had 9. And then, how many are usable right now? 5. So where they were built, about 6 or 7 years ago, water started seeping through the courts and really playing havoc on the far side of the courts. So right now we have groundwater seeping through and it's caused some large cracks. And so as you know, in 2023, we did some repainting and crack filling on 5 of the courts. The reason that we didn't do the others, and Hunter can attest to this, is he's been out there multiple times, they were so damaged that there wasn't, the water would continue to seep up. So when it's dry enough, the nets are there, they can practice on them, but it's almost to the point where it's dangerous. I know, Mr. Newton was actually out there the other day too, pulling some weeds.
Other duties as assigned.
Yep, and was like, there's like cement coming out of where you pull the weeds, so those courts for sure are in a tough space. And it's not for our lack of maintenance, you can see that we typically do about every 7 to 10 years. And then when were they last updated, there's a link in there for maintenance, so you can see that, so we have a crack fill, and why didn't we update all of them, we just talked about it. There's a picture there of what the courts look like, what's the cost of repairing the unusable courts. Essentially what they're saying is we would need to do something similar to what we did with the field down here, is lift it up, put drainage tiles in, and then put it back on. And then the part for us, we're like, and is that a guarantee that the water's not gonna ever seep up again? And we're both staring at each other going, yeah, there's no guarantees, because we didn't see this coming when it happened. And then, how many courts do we need to have events? We have to have at least 8 to host a conference. Why do we have 9? Just because we wanted to have 9, so that we were the first ones to have 9, so we're during that time. Tennis teams, people were kind of curious. 2003 was the first year that we had tennis here. I know because I assistant coached it. And then 2011 was when the boys team was added. And then you can scroll down a little bit. Middle border conference, this was new to me. For some reason, even though I coached, I thought every middle border conference school had a tennis team, but that's not actually true. So Prescott's in First Central and Somerset do not have tennis teams. And Altoona, Erie, Baldwin, Ellsworth, and Massachusetts. And then there's a complete report for the tennis court study, which actually shows to repair them all was closer to $1 million, if I remember right. And then there's just some more photos. But just wanted to make sure that y'all have the background on the tennis courts, because a couple of you have asked. Any other questions you have for Hunter or I about the courts? So the girls tennis team will be able to have matches, will be able to host matches. They will not be hosting a conference or regionals or sectional events based on the courts that we have.
We still host like quads, triangles, things like that, but you host anything up higher than that. I mean, have you ever been to a tennis tournament? They take all day.
Sure.
Like, so we used to host an 18 meet for years, and we started at 9 o'clock, and kids would be walking off at 8 p.m. I mean, it's all day for them. So we had to bring it back down to like 4 teams, what we started doing.
Jessie Person.
Okay, so we are gearing up to begin our second session of extended school year for our virtual speech students. Those sessions will start in August 6th, I think, and just help the students transition back to ready to go to school. Another training that we're kind of finalizing all the details, we're gonna train 50 staff during our in-service on the nonviolent crisis intervention training, which is really it's our required training for de-escalation techniques. If you have to, all of the de-escalation techniques used up to, if you have to use the seclusion and restraint as the last resort. So, all of our certified special ed paras will be trained with that, special ed teachers, administrators, and, any other kind of, specific selected staff as well. And then another exciting opportunity, we're gonna send, paras that are interested to the Para Summit, either August 12th or 13th at CISA. So this session is gonna have multiple breakout sessions, everything from enhancing student attention, supporting challenging behaviors for students with autism, planning, prioritizing, organization and recall, supporting students who struggle with change, boosting working memory, and empowering self-control with strategies. So a lot of really, really great opportunities. We just sent that out today, and we have 2 paras that are interested, so hopefully we'll get some more too, so.
So if you know your parents that might not check their emails,
Yeah.
because that's what's tricky, right? But it's a really cool opportunity that CISA's offering.
Thank you.
So we started working on a lot of things this summer, but, one of the things that, and, you know, being here now, I don't know, we're my 20th or 21st year, we're starting to look at all our clubs, and what's kind of cool is that we have right around 30, club choices for our students at OHS. As a result of that, though, I think, you know, through time, you go through people when they started, okay, maybe they retired, maybe they left, okay, where's that at now? So we're trying to do that right now, to kind of put all the information together, to what options will be available for our students come this fall, what openings we'll have, and kind of step up, more of an idea, because like I said, I know we have a gamers club, but I can't tell you all the time, all the things they do during the school year, right? So having those opportunities, listed for our parents and for our students, I think would be pretty cool. Hate saying this, but a summer recap already, we're getting to that point. I don't have any numbers, but at OHS, it seems like the building is always open. There's a lot of moving pieces, open gyms, camps, parades, strength performance. I can tell you that we looked at numbers the other day, we had over 160 kids that were in the weight room at any given time, or like home gyms and those things. Not just that opportunity, but I know we have Miss Leeds here today. She's gonna be a new ag teacher at the high school, and also then we called her, I can't remember, it was a Friday or a Monday, and within like 2 days, she accepted also, not the ag teacher position, but to take on the FFA summer opportunities for our students. And took our kids to the state convention, did I understand it right?
State FFA convention.
Which was hugely appreciated because of the short term that we contacted her and was able to take the kids there. Also, of course, we're going to do with the Polk County Fair, and also still planning for our Osceola Community Fair, the tractor pull, and all those good things coming up. So, a lot of things for her. I don't think, you know, definitely one of those things not planning for, and that she jumped right on and took on all the responsibilities that we could ask her to do. Our ATA, of course, been sent out for all the Jeeping Band members to all the local parades, and doing a lot of lessons during the day as well, seeing anywhere from elementary kids coming in the building to our seniors, so that's cool to see. 2 weeks from yesterday, we start fall sports, so we are lucky now that all our fall coaches are set. We just, actually tonight I sent out an email or message to our parents regarding our dance program. Coach Dimler is taking over as our dance coach, and we're gonna have a meeting next Tuesday for parents and for students interested in dance. Jeff has been in a lot of time working, first year person when he started last year, middle of the year was a lot to learn. Doing the scheduling and whatnot for all the teams and just learning all the processes and procedures. He spent this last Monday at Stevens Point, participating in the WIA AD training this past Monday. So he's been busy as well. So a lot of moving pieces going on, but we're ready. 2 weeks away from really picking up, so looking forward to that.
I wonder when it's like, summer's just flying by today. It's still July, so, not wrong. All right, man in my ear.
Alright, so speaking of that, we put together a summer newsletter for high school students and families, so it just kind of recaps, you know, quickly a little bit about registration and high school supplies, which haven't been looked at in like years, I think, so that was fun. But also just like athletics, a lot of registration that happens starting on August 1st, so making sure people know how to do that. And Jamie B. Rock will be the AD assistant this year, so she's learning a lot right now too, and so just some quick pieces of information to go out right now before our high schoolers get going with things. We have OVA registration open right now, so that'll close in a couple of weeks here. As of like 2 minutes ago, someone else just said it's at 11 right now. They're all high school students as of right now. And then new teacher day, so Julie and I are working together on our mentoring program, and then the big part of that is our new teacher day. So as of right now, we've got 14 new teachers, a part of new teacher day, and then in addition to that, through our mentor program, we'll have 3 returning as year 2 mentees. So you are all invited for lunch on August 19th if you'd like to come. We're gonna be at the intermediate school this year, so just let me know if you're gonna be here, and 11:30 to 12:30, I think, if I remember correctly. Okay, high school will be there. Perfect. Brooke will be there, perfect. Okay, so lots of good activities for them, lots of learning that day, information overload for them, but we have a full day. So, that's it.
Alright, that brings us to Mr. Darren Caton. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna go in a little reverse order. So I want to start out with just a shout out to the leadership team. It's been just a great transition, very kind, very helpful. So everybody next to me here, and Becky and Shannon. And it was funny because Amanda was just talking about mentoring. I was thinking the number of times I'm asking her questions or asking her to come over and how wonderful that's been, just to have her as a resource. So I start my emails with, shocker, more questions for you. So it's been a great just transition, and lots of helpful people here, so I appreciate that. I've had the opportunity to meet with 28 staff members, so we started off with some listening sessions, because you're probably wondering what is a principal doing in July that starts July 1st. And just, I think that's pretty impressive that you know, for me reaching out and having 28 staff members that want to come and spend some time with me and share just how proud they are of the school and the collaboration that they have. I just, you know, I come from a big district, and we had an administrator, a new hire last year that did the same thing with listening sessions and had 5 teachers show up in the summer to do that in a bigger school. So very impressive, just the dedication that they have. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the work we've been doing. In my prior school, I did a lot of work with PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention Systems. Starts with using some type of matrix. We used Pride in my prior school, and Amanda started that last year too. And it's just kind of a support system just to promote positive behaviors in the learning community in the school. And so I've been adding some things to that, building on what was started last year. I had Brian working on what we call positive pride tickets. So it's recognizing kids for doing wonderful things in the school. We do that in an electronic manner. So I've connected Brian with my prior tech guy to get that supported. But it's nice because you have kids getting an email when they're recognized, and also the parent or guardian receives it. So especially for some of those kids that may not get a lot of positives home, we had a lot of wonderful feedback from parents on it. So we're moving forward with that. We also have the other side, which is a corrective ticket. It's called Stop and Think. That also is electronic, and that's designated more for minor behaviors that are not promoting a positive learning environment, and having those discussions with the kids prior to it being sent, but that will also go to the family members. And then building on that, we are working on a process every week where we draw some names from those pride tickets and hand out some type of award, and then we recognize them. Along with that, I know that Julie's done some work on this too, looking at standards-based grading, and then having the separate component, which is, we've kind of renamed behaviors that support learning, so that it's strictly an academic grade and not an academic grade that's influenced by behaviors. So we've done a little work with that, and just changing some of the wording where it reflects that pride matrix that we use at the middle school of perseverance, respect, integrity, dependability, and excellence. So that's a little bit about what I've been doing in the first 2 weeks.
Now you're having fun.
Julie Bender.
Alrighty, hi everyone. So many fun things to talk about. First and foremost, like Hunter has been great to work with. He loves coming over and to hear all of the fantastic ideas, that I have, and so far we get to move forward with quite a few of them, so yay, Hunter. Okay, moving on to the elementary school. We are in our, and somebody's gonna have to correct me, but I think we're going into our 4th year, maybe it's 3rd, of 4K being all day. 3rd or 4th year.
It'd be,
Fourth.
yep, 3rd grade, current 3rd graders were the
Okay.
first ones, yep.
So, super cool thing about that was, like, I think sometimes we all forget that they're here all day now. So that's something that Becky and I were talking about, like, gosh, like, they're here all day. So we can do so many different things with our youngest chieftains here in the district. And with that, there was a goal by the end of the year where we want so many kids, you know, just like all the goals I tell you guys all the time, we want so many kids to be at grade level or proficient, or however you wanna call it, there's lots of different language out there. And 85% of all of the 4Kers this year, so 85% of them, okay, they all scored at or above benchmark, so like at grade level according to the state of what a 4-year-old should know. 85%, I mean, that's almost all of them. So we've got these kick butt 4K teachers doing their thing and being able to do that all day long. I mean, that's something that we just all need to be celebrating that. It's a really cool thing. So now we're 85%. 85%. Right. Yeah, 85%.
Darren knows why nobody wanted to sit next to you.
Yeah. We told you. We told you.
I'm surprised she's not standing yet.
I almost did, but okay. And the next,
Sorry, what percent was
it was 85.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, make sure and write that down. And then another really neat thing at the elementary school, and so now this is because I also have a problem when it comes to data, so then digging into the behavior data. And so this year, we set a goal that we wanted to decrease the number of like majors that are put in the EduClimber. So a major, again, this is all the PBIS language, a major is gonna be a bigger behavior. And we track that. We track that to see where's the environment, like what teacher, what classroom, like the whys behind it all. So teachers track that. In 22-23, so last year, there were 420 majors reported by elementary school teachers.
And that building alone.
Yes, 420.
Not last year, in 22-23, this is new school year now.
Yep. So then, 23-24, so the year that we just finished. Anybody wanna take a guess?
Well, it's on here.
Oh, you guys,
I'm gonna guess
that's right, because we,
109-ish?
yes, 109. So we were, you completely bursted a bit, it's okay. So from 420 all the way down to 109, and the expectations for staff of when they put that in and what truly defines a major, like, remain the same. So it's just what we're bringing forward and what we're doing and setting those expectations, and it goes back, you know, again, off of Daring, like, it's that PBIS piece, where the middle school, the pride piece, we're doing the elementary level, be safe, be respectful, be responsible, but it's all the same, just more of an elementary appropriate level of how we teach all that. So, yay. Even though you guys read this before. Okay. Kelly DeMole, congratulations, Kelly DeMole. She's going to be in the office with Holly, and they're gonna have a hoot, and it's gonna be great. And she's so excited, and she's been in working with Belinda right now, because Belinda and her do the same thing, different buildings. It's gonna work out well. OIS, recognizing Patricia Kramer. She is our new reading specialist. She is probably one of the most brilliant people that I know when it comes to reading and what all goes into it, and she's bringing all of that expertise forward, and we cannot wait. Working shoulder to shoulder with her for Act 20 and all the different pieces, and we've been communicating a lot this summer, so we're ready. We're not scared of it. Like, bring it. We're doing all the right things, so like we're excited. And Patricia's right there with it all. So that's exciting. And then responsive classroom. We have 9 staff members, 4K4, that are coming into the district that are signed up to be trained, and that is such an important training that helps build our classroom environments and just what we expect of kids as they walk in the doors, and how we take care of them and know that they have a spot to be each and every day. So, all the fun things. And Corey, 85%. That's all I have.
Alright. Well, I believe that ends our committee meeting.
Can I share one thing, just 'cause it's Friday and have extra time? So the middle school has a national championship now, a trap shooter. So the shooting team went to nationals in Ohio last week, and they took home a number of medals, second place, third place, but Tanner Reed took first place in singles trap for his division, and he took singles in doubles trap. He took first place, so lots of medal coming home, but, pretty proud of the kids, and everyone, there was 13, so 11 Osceola kids there. Everyone talked about the pride of the kids they saw from Osceola and Squad, so kudos to
Like national champion.
national champion.
Wow.
Yep.
Alright, see everybody back at 6:30.
I don't have you on camera, I swear.